Again, just to remind you, if you're here for the first time, welcome. If you're joining us again, welcome back. I can't see you, so if you have things that you want to interact, just post it in the comments. I can see the comments, so that's how we're going to be doing it today. Okay, so first of all, let's just start with a quick intro. If you don't know who I am, I'm Laura Cardwell. I own Shift Brain Integration and Quantum Integrative Wellness, and I have been practicing energy medicines and all sorts of modalities for about 6 years. I've focused on applied neurology for a long time, and in the fall, I started working with a new technology called the Genius Biofeedback, which is a quantum biofeedback app that allows me to do quite a bit. And so these demos are an opportunity for me to kind of show how this newer technology works, and how I've been integrating what I already know with this new amazing technology. So we like to have a victim, I like to call them, a volunteer. And if you're interested in volunteering to get a free session, then you just email me at lauracardwellqiw@gmail.com, and we will get you on the list to be the next volunteer. But this week, we're going to say thank you to Valerie, who has graciously put herself up as the guinea pig for this week. And so I'm going to get that all connected in just a second, which you guys know by now. Technology sometimes gets the best of me, so I'm going to try my hardest to make it happen correctly this time. If I can, we'll see what happens. Okay, so let's see what I can do to get this bad boy on your screen so that you can experience this thing that we are calling quantum biofeedback. All right, so give me 2 seconds while I figure out all of my life. I don't know about the rest of you, but this adjustment to online things has been new for me. I've worked remotely for a long time, but I haven't necessarily worked with it on the screen. So I'm adjusting, as is the whole world, I think. And I saw a thing the other day where she had herself as future her talking to her and kind of saying, well, you know, that vacation you have planned, go ahead and cancel it. And what else were you thinking? Well, I was thinking about getting a dog, get a dog. And then she's like, how's your investment portfolio? And she's like, well, I don't know. And she's like, invest in Zoom. So, okay. So let's see if I can get this up and shared with you so that you can see it as well. There's too many screens open on my page. I'm going to share the... Let's see what happens if I do this. Then I think you may be able to see what I am seeing. Technology, I got you. Okay, here it is. I do believe at the moment you can see what's on my screen. Now, this reflector does sometimes cut out on me and that whole thing disappears. But what I want you to be able to see now is that we are officially in the biofeedback app. And what's really cool is that quantum biofeedback has been around for a pretty long time, actually. Biofeedback itself as a healing modality has been around. All of our Fitbits are based in that mentality that you have something that reflects your behavior to you and allows you to adjust it in order to make changes in your life. So that 10,000 step counter is a biofeedback device as well. This particular biofeedback device allows me to look at the energy field, the biofield of a person, and see what is going on. So let me just kind of do a quick explanation of how that works. So what we know from a quantum physics perspective is that we're all basically just a big bundle of frequencies, of energy, of cells bouncing around, creating vibrations. Those vibrations make waves. Those waves we measure in frequencies. And so we are able to measure what's going on in all those frequency world using the quantum biofeedback. It uses a voice analysis, it uses a picture, and then it uses archetypal information like a name and a birthday. And so it uses all of that information. We plug that in, and then it runs it against its huge database of bajillions of frequencies that it already knows with a fast Fourier algorithm, and then it gives us a list of what might be going on for that person in their energy field. And so that's kind of how we get there. And then I've been able to take this technology and add in a whole lot of things that I was already working with. But to begin with, what we get to see is what's going on in the mind. Now, remember, none of this is diagnostic. I'm not a doctor. This is not a not diagnostic, but it is telling me information that's going on in the energy field. What you need to know about an energy field is that it can have things that are happening currently. It could have things that are in the energy field but haven't become physical, and it can also be influenced by people that we're entangled with, like our family members and our house and where we are. So it's quite a big story that we're looking at when we look at it. So right now I'm going to move this a little so that I can also see your comments. Okay. Okay, so what we can see is this gives us basically, it starts off with the mind and with the body and with the biofield. So in the mind, I can look at the neurotransmitters or do a little neurofeedback by looking at the brain waves. If I look in that brain EEG, that tells me what's going on with the brain waves. Or I can look at the body. The body involves everything from, as you see, glands and organs and amino acids to digestion and spinal energy. Any kind of today's stress, like what's going on right now for that person, body systems and infection energy. So kind of what's the state of the body and how is it showing up energetically? And then last but not least is the biofield. And that's where your biofield is made of your vital body energies. So that's where we would look at like your meridians or your chakras. In this case, we also can look at the aura, which I'm getting ready to run for you. And like what's going on with the Nogier levels and solfeggio I know that probably some of those things you may not know what they are, and that's okay. Through the weeks, we'll start to break things down here and there, but for now, you need to know that that's kind of just the vital body, all of the energy bodies, and what's going on in those areas. So we're going to look at her aura. So an aura, every human is electrical. Every human is physical, chemical, and electrical, and they're all kind of working together all the time. And so when we're doing frequency medicine or energy medicine or healing of any kind on that side, we're working with the energy, the electrical side of things. And when we're electrical, we have what's called an electromagnetic field. And we can see that, with wires and anything else that's electrical. And the human body, we call that the aura. And this aura gives us quite a bit of information. So as you can see, this is Valerie's aura right now. And so there's quite a bit of coloring going on and texturing going on. What we're looking at is there's some yellowing. You can see some yellow. We see this, obviously, this hot pink band right here. So that tells me that she might be having some, so she might overall be having some solar plexus, which is a chakra center. There's some solar plexus stuff going on. Our solar plexus is involved in the functioning of quite a bit of our digestion. And it also is involved in our wants and desires. So like our self-confidence and our ability to kind of get what we want in life and manifest and feel confident and speak our truth. So there might be some things going on in the solar plexus chakra that I would dig into, maybe even spleen energy here. And then the pink band actually could be leaning either way. Pink is a very healing color. So soft pink is more of the healing color. The more vibrant pinks or this like hot pink here tells me that there's probably also some root and sacral chakra things going on, a big band of energy moving there. That could be a blend of, so it could be, there's some physical stuff, like there could be some hormonal things going on. There could also be some anxiety or worry going on. And so What I want you to know is that it's not diagnostic, and we're not locking her in, because I could take her picture again right now and it would be different. Our aura is constantly shifting and changing, and you're going to see that in a minute, because I'm going to run a few minutes of a panel and come back, and we're going to see how that's shifted. Okay, so now we're going to go in, and she has asked to do the inflammation panel today, and I decided that that was a really great one, so I said yes. No, I'm kidding. No, for real. The inflammation panel is a great one because, as we know, inflammation itself can be the root of quite a few other issues going on. And we saw that yellowing going on a little bit, so there might be some digestive things going on. And so inflammation is a good thing for us to look at. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to look at this panel, and we have it. What I want you to know is, when we're looking at different panels here, the red represents kind of a more hot, more acute issue, and Chinese medicine would be more hot. And then the blue is more stagnant or chronic, right? So that's not always the case, but it's definitely, most of the time, it correlates in that kind of way. So we definitely want to look at both. And what happens is, when I scanned in all of Valerie's information, when I put in her face and her voice and her archetypal information, and it compared it to that database, it's giving me basically a score. And if it scores above 600, then it kind of gets the yellow to the red. And if it scores below a 200, it's kind of green to the blue. Green kind of is sitting in a balanced space. Yellow is kind of heading out of balance. And then we've got the other two extremes. What I want you to know again is that it is not diagnostic. So I could run this again in 2 minutes and it would look very different. It's amazing how fast it all changes. But over the course of time, we start to see patterns. And that's how this technology really shines, is that when we do it consistently and we do it enough and we stick with it, and that's why I have a subscription program, because it gets people doing it weekly or bi-weekly, then that we really begin to see where there's consistent patterns for us to work with and dig into. And it's an entrainment process. Anytime we're working with a energy medicine in any kind of way, we're generally in training. So we keep exposing our energy body to a healing energy of some sort. In this case, it will be the quantum biofeedback output. And then our body, our physical bodies and our energy bodies start to entrain to that higher frequency, to that healing frequency. And it helps us come back into balance. I tell people when I'm working with people, it's like I'm a frequency detective, and I'm going to go in and find all of these frequencies that might be out of balance and creating disruptions in other pathways. And when we bring those back into balance using some sort of vibrational tool, like the quantum biofeedback or tuning forks or light therapy, but when we bring those frequencies back into balance, then they stop creating disruptions and the body can heal. So this is really a stress management tool. It takes the stress, which are those frequencies that are being disrupted, out, and it allows the body to cut it. It doesn't take them out. It brings them back into balance. And then that allows the body itself to heal. Okay, so let's look at this inflammation disturbance reduction panel or program. And so I've gone ahead and I've already pre-run this so that I could kind of see what was going on beforehand. But what I want you to see here is that there's quite a few up here in the red. And if you're in energetic kinesiology or any of those modalities, you can kind of think of this as like it's just run a whole bunch of muscle monitors for you or muscle tests for you, and is kind of giving you the result. So you have these top 10 here in red. When we're working, I like to get anything that's above 600, because remember that's kind of where the level is of where things are starting to get out of balance. So and what's in these panels are a combination of some of these panels I purchased from geniusbiofeedback.com. Ariel is an amazing mentor. She's been amazing for me, so a shout out to her. But she's created some of these panels, and she's a naturopathic doctor. And then I've created some of my own panels to add to it. So this is one that I've gotten from her, though, because it was such a great panel of all sorts of different frequencies that can help either to recognize what might be out of balance or something that helps to balance it. So like you can see here, we actually can load in frequencies of herbs and essential oils and rife frequencies, and even just using the name of the area that's having trouble, that helps. There's a frequency to that, and it's telling the story, and we're building the story, and we're bringing it all together. So in this case, we're looking at pomegranate, and which is an antioxidant, and the tumor necrosis factor is a pro-inflammatory cytokine. So that's got to do with the immune system and in the gut lining, and how our immune system is working. Alpha lipoic acid is also an amazing antioxidant, and you can see there's several others. So one thing that I caught in here was this clear effects of heavy metals. So now it's also maybe giving me, now remember, this is not diagnostic. It does not mean that Valerie has a heavy metal toxicity necessarily, but it does mean that she's got some sort of imbalance in her energy field around heavy metals, which most of us do. We're exposed to a ton of heavy metals. So I'm probably, before I run this, I'm going to also add in some heavy metals for her, just to clear whatever those heavy metals are, right? So turmeric, curcumin, we know those to be anti-inflammatory. And then we go down here and we look at the blue ones, right? So all those, the rest of them were in green and yellow, but they're in technically the balanced state. So we kind of skip over those for now. We look down at cat's claw and ginseng and cinnamon. So those are all, those are herbs and cinnamon. Well, those are all herbs that are anti-inflammatory and help with the inflammation disturbance. So, so the good news here is that she's actually only got 3 or 4 here in the blue, and not too many under 200 in the green. And so she's got more going on in the red. So that tells me that she actually probably doesn't have chronic inflammation. Not that I would diagnose that, but it's telling me that this is probably, it's a minor factor for her, which is great. That inflammation is a detector of quite a few things. So this is kind of what we want to see, is that there's more in the red, which means it's more acute. Like maybe it's happening right now or in the last few months, and it's not this big long-term chronic inflammation problem, let's say like arthritis, which is a chronic inflammation problem, right? So she probably doesn't suffer from arthritis, but she may be having some inflammation right now. And she may be having some, remember back to the aura picture, she might also be having some digestive issues that are causing inflammation right now. Now it looks to me like, in this case, it's probably a microbiome imbalance. That's just something I happen to know in my head. And it looks like that microbiome imbalance is coming from a heavy metal, because there are a couple things that can be very disruptive to the microbiome, and that could be food sensitivities, gluten, dairy, eggs, any peanuts, whatever. And also heavy metals can be pretty disruptive. So again, that could all be in our energy field, but it's something that I would want to investigate further. If I were working with Valerie one-on-one and she had a subscription and we were working together, I would probably run this panel and then start talking about doing some microbiome and digestive balancing work, possibly even, actually, this is a nice leadway, thank you, Valerie, to the detox program that we're running right now, which is a 10-week detox program meant to help rebalance basically your digestive system, your microbiome, your parasites, all of that stuff, as well as your kidneys and your all of the organs that are involved, and all of the meridians and all of that's involved in detoxing. And in doing that, we could help bring a lot of these things back into balance, because the way to balance heavy metal or a microbiome imbalance energetically is to detox the energetic system. And so thank you, Valerie, for providing a great segue into my salesy moment, in which I'm telling you that I am running that 10-week detox program. So registration for that ends on Sunday, and it starts next week, and it will run for 10 weeks. And I think we dropped the price to $250 a month for 3 months, which is, it's literally half off. So, so if you're interested in that program, then please email me at lauracardwellqiw@gmail.com and let me know, and I'll get you on the list before we get started next week. And we demoed that last week in case anybody was here. Denise, we started by looking at that program. Okay, now we get to do the fun part. For right now, because it's a demo, I'm just gonna hit a quick balance, but not to worry, I will actually take care of Valerie in a whole session after we get off the live. But right now I wanna kind of show you what happens next, show you what happens to her aura so that you can see the whole demo. So I'm just gonna actually move this little button up here, and I'm just gonna run the machine for about 2 minutes. Now what the machine is doing, and you can see, I love this part. You can stare, I could stare at this little 3D vision of what's going on with all those frequencies all day. But what I want you to know is that I want you to hear it too. So I'll turn it up. It has a sound. It has a very piercing sound. And it has this visual. But what's happening is the machine is actually balancing these frequencies right now. And it can do that remotely, because without diving too far into the physics of that one, that's done through non-locality, which is a it's a law of quantum physics, is that any particles that have ever interacted can always interact. And they believe that basically we were some original particles and then the Big Bang. So the Big Bang is an expansion of original particles, meaning everything inside of that energetically is connected, and you can work with it at a distance. And I have lots of additional information about that. I've written some posts about it, and I'm always happy to answer more questions as to what's going on when we work remotely on someone, because I think it's important that we help debunk some of the woo-woo of how people can work with you across the distance. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance, and he didn't like it. He didn't like it a lot, and he didn't want to really accept it. But in the years since Einstein, it's been proven several times through many studies. So now we know we can work, as long as we're working in the energetic field, we can work from anywhere on anyone. There are ethics to that. Obviously, you have to say yes to that, and no one can just work on you, because that's the next scary thing is, oh, is somebody just working on me? And no, that's not the way the energy works. Okay, so I've run it for a few minutes, and now I want to go back and just take a look at what her aura might look like and see how her aura might have changed based on, so when we ran it, and even only running it for 2 minutes, she had a 37% overall clearing, right? And when I work with a client individually, I don't want them to really, I don't want to finish their session until I've seen it at least hit 40%. And often as oh, look at this, look at this. So now we are really moving those digestive issues out. And do you see how the pink is starting to soften? So that's what we want to see, that healing pink, moving that more vibrant pink over. The way that you read this, and I'm not sure on your screen if it's mirrored or not, but in my screen, we've got more of let's see if I can show you. On the right side, there's this yellow coming in, and there's this lighter pink. And then over on the left side, the band is moving, this bigger band of purple green, and these pinks are moving out to the left. That's what's leaving the, that's actually the reverse of her. This always gets me a little bit, but what's on the right side of our screen is what's coming in for her. And on the left side of our screen is what's moving out for her. And that's what we want to see, the softer pink coming in and really toning down some of that digestive. And that's just in 2 minutes. So we can see how fast our energy field changes when we when we have the opportunity to even just do a little bit of energetic work and begin to bring those things back into balance. And then imagine whether, if you were having these weekly, how much benefit that you could get from doing this weekly. I've been working, like I said, I've been working with it for about 6 months now. And I mean, most of you that are here know me pretty well, and I can be a little skeptical, as we used to say when the kids were little. And so I'm like, but show me, but why, but why, but why, but why? That's why I'm getting my doctorate in quantum medicine, because I'm constantly saying, but why, but why? And somebody has to answer the next question. So I figured that's the best place to get the answer. And so for me, I started with this technology and just kind of played around with it. And the more I have used it, and the more I've been really amazed at its capabilities. And that's why I've kind of committed to it and started to really integrate it into a practice and create the subscription plans around it and really make it available. It also created an opportunity for me to make energetic wellness available at a really affordable price. So we'll come back to the subscriptions in just a second. So Valerie asked a question, and it's a great question. She said, how is the sacred geometry line used? So let's look at it. Sacred geometry, if you guys don't know, which I think probably most of you have some inkling, that the whole universe as we know it is built on sacred geometry. And you can really tap into the power of sacred geometry to help heal many different aspects of what's going on. So in this case, I often, if I'm working with somebody one-on-one, I may do what I call build a balance, meaning they may come to me and they may say they have a digestive issue. And then we're going to kind of dive into that. We're going to look at what might be going on physically, what's going on energetically, what's going on in their mind patterns, because we know that the mind governs what's going on in the energy systems, which governs what's going on in the physical body. And so when I'm building a balance, I'm kind of pulling all of these different frequencies that the body is showing it wants to have run together. And that's often how I use the sacred geometry, is that I would go pull one of these in and run it with the rest of her panel. And I will probably do that when we're off of here and I run the deeper panel for her, where I go kind of dig into it a little. And so all of these different geometries can mean different things. If you study sacred geometry, then you would know, oh, digestion might be tied into toroids, or I don't know that that's true, but the more you know about how each one of these symbols works, you could use it. Each one of these symbols is tied into different chakras. You might want to use be balancing a chakra and pull in sacred geometry and solfeggio tones, and then with that chakra, you might pull in the meridians that are involved. Like I said, with the solar plexus, that's very much spleen energy. So I might be doing a spleen balance with the solar plexus chakra, and I might also be running some digestive pathways and some microbiome balancing, and then I would pull in the sacred geometry that was relative to that. So, or I can also just open this panel and see that there are a few that are in the red, and I can just hit a quick balance on that and run just her sacred geometry, just the ones that are a little out of balance for her. I can run that now for just a few minutes. And she's getting a quick sacred geometry balance, which actually could do a lot for her, just in her overall energy for the day, and her mental clarity, and her emotional balancing, and her balance with her higher self and the Schumann resonance of the earth. Sacred geometry does a lot to bring all of that into harmony. So she'd have an opportunity now. She's getting a little bonus as we run that. Oops, sorry, computer. She's getting a little bonus there as we run that, and we just give her a little extra pep in her step for the day. Okay, I think I'm going to let that run for the last minute that it's doing, and I'm going to see if you guys have any questions. Valerie says, so cool, I use it with Reiki, so really neat to see it here. Yeah, oh, absolutely. Reiki is an amazing, I know that most of you probably know, but Reiki is an amazing modality for really moving good energy. And she's kind of obsessed with Fibonacci spirals. which it's hard not to be. And the whole journey of wanting to as soon as we move away from something, we find ourselves back at the beginning. And I find that a lot with my clients, that the Fibonacci circles actually show a lot, because they've done this huge process and they've made this big journey, but they found themselves back at the beginning, but back at the beginning in a new way. And here we go again, right? So it is pretty amazing. Okay, so this is going to run for about another, looks like 10 seconds. We could count it down together if we wanted to. And then what we'll do, can you guys still see that, or did it shut off? Today we made it all the way through with the reflector. I'm so excited. Okay, and now I'm just going to recheck her aura and just see what that did to help move some of this energy that she's working on. And she's moving big energy. Valerie, did you feel any of that moving? They've been kind of quick, but some people can feel it. It could tingle. It could make you feel hot. It could make you feel cold. It can, oh, look at this. Look at this. So now we've moved down to those pink colors, and we're up into the higher chakra colors. So we're into the blue of the throat chakra, which is really opening up that energy and getting into her being able to communicate her truth and really move. And she's got this yellow band, so we're still looking at digestion, but look what's right behind that. We've got that green and that purple. And these are the higher colors, green, purple, and blue. We're into the higher chakras of the heart chakra, the throat chakra, the brow chakra, and the crown chakra. So she's really, that sacred geometry really pushed her into moving really big energy. And she said she could feel it, which is pretty awesome. Temperature shift and some lightness. For me, I get cold, I get shivery. When I know I'm moving big things, I can get really hot. If I'm releasing something big, I'll have like a hot flash hot, but I often kind of get a little bit cold first. So, okay, guys, I'm going to hop off in just a second, and I'm going to do a little extra on Valerie before my next client. So if you have questions, please feel free to continue to post in the comments. I'll check them throughout the day and try and answer them. You're always welcome to email me at lauracardwellqiw@gmail.com. And remember that we're running the detox program. So it's a great time for that. It's the wood energy in the Chinese medicine. We look at the 5 elements. This is wood energy, spring is, and it's a perfect time for a detox. And so even if you're not going to do a physical one, an energetic detox can be a really great reset button. And then also we have lots of subscriptions for using the quantum biofeedback that you can look at on my website. That's quantumintegrativewellness.com, or easier to get to is lauracardwell.com. They'll go to the same place. You can look at all the different group options. Remember, when you're working as a group, then you're magnifying the healing effect. So that's our 1 + 1 does not just equal 2, it also equals 11. So when we come together as a group, we can use this technology even as a group. We can really magnify the healing effect. There's a great chance to demo that tonight at 5:45 back here on my Facebook Live page. I do a free 10-minute meditation in which I also run the quantum biofeedback and kind of do a reading on the whole group, and then post what showed up and what we're working on. It's always fascinating to me what's going on there. So join me for that. That's free, and you get to experience kind of the group side of things. And I think that's enough shameless plugging of myself for today. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Valerie, for being such an amazing guinea pig and helping us to really see how this technology can affect you so quickly and move such big energy. Thank you to all of you who have returned to watch me weekly. I am so grateful for your support. And if you know anybody who right now is really wishing they could see somebody who would be able to help them move energy remotely, especially in this time where we're not able to see our acupuncturists on a regular basis and things like that, please point them in my direction. I can help them. Ooh, remember, you can get your free aura reading. You can go to the website and fill out the form and get a free aura reading if you want that for yourself. I'll send you a quick email and just kind of tell you what's going on based on what your aura looks like. And I think that's it for today. So Thank you, thank you, thank you. I will see you back here either tonight at 5:45 or next week at 12:30. We're still going to be on Facebook Live for a few more weeks. So thank you all for being here, and I will see you soon. Mwah.